All right, what's up, everybody? It's Elevation with Chris Oram, and we are back here with Season 2, baby. This is episode number 16, and Elevation is the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. And today is a solo cast because I want to tell my story about how I climbed the ladder of success, right? Because it wasn't all linear. It wasn't all uphill. There was a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, a lot of backsteps, and a lot of mistakes that happened along the way. So I want to really tell my story, throw it back to the beginning, and I'll give some learning lessons that I had along the way because really I can only tell my story, and that's what I can do. So let's go ahead and get it started. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in for this Season 2 of Elevation with Chris Oram. Very excited to have you back here with me today. And we're at the same spot, but different ownership. This is the Sunrise Podcast Network, so shout out to them, baby. Let's do it. So we're here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I'm born and raised. I won't go too deep into my childhood. We don't need to talk about that, but I want to really start the story off in high school, at Bishop Gorman High School. And that's where I went to high school originally. And at Bishop Gorman High School, I really had a couple of priorities. A couple of my priorities included partying. Partying was a big part of my school year and a big part of who I was as a person. When I wasn't at school, I was probably partying. And partying really doesn't lead you anywhere. And when you're going to a nice school, they care about education, you really got to keep your grades up. And I always kept my grades up, but I got into a little bit of trouble in the after-school activities. But that didn't stop us from still achieving what we wanted out of life. I think most people from my high school days, they expected to go to college. I think my parents expected me to go to college. So I think it was just naturally right that when it was around that junior, senior year of high school that you start looking at what college you want to go to. So I'll just keep it real honest for you guys. I applied to 3 colleges. So I applied to the University of Nevada, Reno, which I got into. I applied to 2 more WUI schools, and that's the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program, for those wondering. And I applied to Washington State because I thought that would be dope. And I applied to Colorado State because I thought that would even be more dope than Washington State. I got into all 3. I had like a 3.3 GPA. So, I mean, it was nothing crazy, but I wanted to, I mean, that's decent grades in my opinion, right? That's a B plus average, if you will. So I got into all these schools, and when I applied to go to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I applied to the College of Business, right? Because I resonated with business. I thought having a business was cool, business and money, you know, what people go to study business for in college. But I also always had a passion for computers. And I want to talk about this childhood memory, if you will, because I've always been passionate about computers. I knew that maybe I was gifted. I think the first time I knew that I was gifted when it came to computers was in the 8th grade. 8th grade, I believe. So sometime in middle school. And we were at like a Red Rock bowling party, and the iPhone had just come out. So when the iPhone came out in 2007, this was an absolutely crazy time for technology. And I didn't have the original iPhone, but I did have the original iPod Touch. And I was geeking out with the iPod Touch. I was jailbreaking this thing, and I was showing all my friends at school how cool it could be to hack your device. I could make phone calls from my iPod Touch. I could record videos. It was freaking crazy, man, because the iPod Touch wasn't capable of these things, but somehow I was able to make that work. How is that possible? How is this middle school kid making this happen? And at some point, I was at this party, an 8th grade bowling party, right? So it's not a party, right? It's a social event. And my friend Danny Hong, I was speaking to his father, Joe Hong, and telling him all about this type of stuff. And he was blown away. He was like, you got an incredible gift. You really should pursue this. And that was the first time I think someone ever like truly told me that they had believed in me from an outside perspective. And I think that was like really powerful for me. So I then kind of knew that I was good with computers. I had spent a lot of time in my early years on YouTube watching and just learning more about computers and technology and the internet and really focusing on like video platforms like YouTube. And I watched early Ustream content, which really paved the way for something like Twitch today, right? So I was on Ustream.tv way before Twitch was ever even a thing. So I really just think that's a key point to tell. So I then want to talk about the next part of my journey. So I knew I was passionate about computers, and I knew that I had a gift when it came to it. So I thought computer science may be something that I could pursue in life or in college, right? They made a lot of money. I could go to Silicon Valley. I could, become a programmer. I could work at Facebook and make $200,000 a year, all right? And really, for me, when I was going to college and thinking about going to college, it was a lot about money. So I was potentially doing it for the money. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people go into. You look at which careers, the lawyers, the doctors, they make the most amount of money, and you follow that career path. So I went to Shadow. Okay, I must have made a mistake somewhere in the grand scheme of things. I applied to the University of Nevada, Reno, and I put computer science for the record. And I went to tour UNR, and I went to the computer science department. And to be honest, the teachers had accents and I couldn't really understand them. I didn't really vibe with a lot of the classmates or the peers. And I decided that wasn't going to be my life. So I actually made the decision. I don't know if it was on that trip, but shortly after that, I was going to enroll in the College of Business. And I think that was a key decision. So that really came to me as we're telling the story. So I'm glad we're telling the story just the way it happened. So you get to college, right? And college is going to be this super cool thing. You're going to meet all these new people. I mean, when you go to UNR from a school like Bishop Gorman, a lot of the people are very much the same. A lot of the cliques are very much the same, but there is an expanded audience, I suppose. So there is new people. And I lived in the dorms my freshman year. It was cool. But really what I want to focus more on this solo cast about is careers and how to make your way in the workplace. And I want to talk about my experience in the workplace because, I've had a job ever since I was 16 years old. My first job was a lifeguard, and I really enjoyed lifeguarding. I thought it was a great first job. It was great for someone in high school to really enjoy those types of experiences. And you get to be around the pool and girls in bikinis and hang out with your friends, and it's a good time. So definitely, if you were living in Las Vegas, you want a lifeguard job, you hit me up. You hit me up on Instagram. You say, hey, Chris, I'm 16. I'm looking to get a lifeguard job. Oh, my people are looking at me. Okay, if you're 16, do not hit me up on Instagram. Whatever you do not do that. Okay, but if you're looking for a job, you can go ahead and go to desertlifeguard.com. We'll shout out my boy Tate. Let's go. This is live, baby. Okay, so let's keep it rolling because lifeguarding is so exciting. All right, so I was a lifeguard for 3 years at the Mandalay Bay. It was a great job. Made a lot of cool friends. They called me Crazy Chris. I was pretty crazy, right? You can watch our episode with Timothy, a.k.a. Rex, and we talk a little bit more about that, our adventures at the Mandalay Bay. So when in college, I decided that, okay, like marketing seems kind of cool. It's like advertising. It's promoting to people. It's like an exchange of value was what we learned about, was the actual definition of marketing, an exchange of value between multiple parties. So I had pursued a career in marketing. I thought I was going to be a marketer. I was going to work at a marketing agency. I was going to be this big time. They got like a sitcom about some HBO marketing guy. You guys probably know who I'm talking about, but that's who I thought I was going to be. And when I was getting ready to graduate college, I was getting ready to apply for jobs. But my sophomore year of college, I worked at the lifeguarding company. My junior year of college, I got an internship at MGM Resorts. So it's only likely that you're going to go into the full-time program when you graduate college, right? Well, boy, was I wrong, because I didn't get the job I wanted after college, and it freaking sucked, man. And let me tell you the damn truth, because this is Elevation with Chris Oram, where we only tell the truth here. And let me tell you why I think I didn't get that job. And the truth hurts, right? Because I think I should have gotten that job, but I didn't play well with company culture. And when you don't play well with company culture, they can try and strike you down early, because what I had made the argument for is that my role as desert lifeguard management, I had made some suggestions to the owner, Tate, that the current manager in charge was not doing a good job. People did not like her. She did not do a good job. She never came to work. And I stated those points, and it really was not efficient for anyone in the workplace, right? So lifeguards were not enjoying their time at work. The company was not experiencing productivity. The people that they were serving was not good, and overall it wasn't effective. So I had made these suggestions, and then eventually I became the manager. Well, this woman got fired. We can just call her out. She got fired for, sucking. And I told that story. I don't necessarily know how I told it. I don't think I told it like I did to you guys, but I also don't think I told it in the best manner, because I think I failed to explain what the overall benefit was, and I think it made me just seem like I was snitching on a boss and ruining that hierarchy. And in some regard, you could make the argument that that was happening. But at the end of the day, the only person that she was serving was herself. And by removing her out of the picture, everything else got better. So I make the argument, and I have the true feeling down in my heart, and you can ask the owner, you can ask other people, that I was making the right decision in that case. So what do you do when you think you're making the right decision and you don't get the job you want? Where do you go from there? And at the time, I think I remember the moment that I received that text message. I was sitting in like a employee dining room at my nightclub job. It was like 9 o'clock at night. I was eating like a cheeseburger and fries, and I get this email, and like, I don't know, it wasn't like at that moment that I was devastated. I think it was like in the period following, like the days after, where I truly kind of felt that I didn't make it, right? Something where I always wanted things to go right. This had not gone right. And I thought I probably had a sense of entitlement, to be honest with you. I thought I was entitled to this position. And to be honest with you, I was really bummed out, because that job paid $42,000, and I thought I was going to make it really big if I made $42,000 coming out of college. Like, damn, I was hot shit if I made $42,000. So I had a couple other options. I applied at a marketing agency, Ogilvy. It's like the biggest one. It's the coolest one. I really was inspired by Gary Vee kind of growing up, and I wanted to be like a marketer. I kind of wanted to be Gary Vee is kind of what I wanted to do after college. But I didn't end. I think I applied at Ogilvy, but I didn't really want to move to New York. I didn't take it too seriously. Like, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So when I graduated college, like, I didn't really know like what was going to happen or what I was going to do. I didn't really have like a sense of purpose, or like, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so I just tried to do what everyone else was doing, like find a job, I guess. So I got an internship at R&R Partners, and they're the biggest advertising agency here in Nevada. They coined what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So you probably heard of them. Probably. And that internship was really cool, but I didn't end up getting like a full-time role. Everyone kept saying, "Oh my God, Chris, you're so good. Like, everyone thinks so highly of you. You get such good reviews from the leadership team." And that's cool, but I make $10.50 an hour, right? I'm looking for a full-time job where I can get paid, $16 an hour, which in 2024 standards is poverty. And honestly, it was kind of poverty back then. And the people working there will tell you that, even at the full-time level. since then, R&R has sort of redone their compensation policy, thank God, to get with the times. But for a while, their wage structure really was quite unfair. And when March of 2020 happened, you guys know what happened in March of 2020, COVID. And when COVID happened, there was definitely no promotion happening. But they kept telling me like, oh, it was going to happen soon. But as soon as March 2020 happened, they said like, yeah, there's not going to be a promotion. Like, we don't really know what's going on. And I remember that shit was crazy because R&R Partners, like, this was the kind of center point of like politics and media and advertising. So Billy, the owner of R&R Partners, is the one writing the speeches for Steve Sisolak, the governor, to address the people of the state of Nevada in regards to what's going on with COVID-19. So it's extremely fascinating hearing like firsthand at the very, very ground level of like what's going on with COVID. Like, he came to us from a perspective of like, we're getting the most inside and detailed information from high level politicians of the state of Nevada. And really, they have a huge lever of control over the state. It's really amazing what a large advertising agency is capable of, what sort of power and leverage they have. So that was an incredible experience, and I want to take this time to highlight that I didn't get that job, and at the time it sucked. Like, it really did suck, and it upset me. I cried when I had to quit that job, but at the end of the day, I made a great decision, and that decision was a belief in myself. When I made a belief in myself to quit a job that was no longer serving me because I felt that I was worth more and that I could do more with my future, and that I applied to an MBA program, and then I told these people that I was going to that program without being accepted yet, it was manifestation. It was just pure, like, this is what I'm going to do and no one's going to stop me. And I think when you get in that mode and that vibe, and when you start telling people like this is going to happen and like you're no longer asking for permission, I think you get in a really powerful state and you can really start to manifest pretty much everything you've ever wanted at that point. So that's exactly what I did. And it was okay, right? When I quit the job, sucked for a little bit. Those people didn't really care about me, and the world moved on. And that's okay. So now we get to the fun part. And I call my life into two segments, right? There's the BC and the, AC. So there's before COVID and after COVID. And my before COVID life, that was just practice. After COVID, this is the real deal. This is when I got into the major league, folks, and this was no more playing around. This is when you can take life seriously and really, really, really get what you want out of it. So that's exactly what I did. And I really made the first piece of the manifestation with like the physical body. And I found that the physical body was a way for me to kind of tap into my individual self-power and the things that I can control, the inputs that go into my body, such as the food and the diet and the things like that in the workout routine. And then from that point on, then once I saw that I could put in the work and I did that over a consistent period of time and I can lose over 35 pounds and truly be impressed by the person that I've become, it's actually a very powerful thing. And when you take those principles and you apply them to other areas of life, then you're unstoppable. So I was lifeguarding for a couple years after college since, that R&R thing didn't work out. I got my MBA, moved up to Reno for a little bit. But when I was lifeguarding, it was still like, what's next? What's next? Because I knew at the bottom of my heart, like, I could be a pool manager forever. But I think I was meant for more. Like, is that really all I was meant for? Like, I'm going to go stand around and watch some 16-year-olds lifeguard. Stop talking about the 16-year-olds lifeguarding, okay? Like, God, man. Can't even say the word 16-year-old lifeguards. Okay, I was a lifeguard manager. What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to call them? Non-lifeguards? Non-16-year-olds? All right, everybody. So let's keep it rolling. Okay. I think it's time to talk about the smart home. Like, we need to take a fucking break over here. Excuse my French. All right, dude. So I got hooked on this thing called the smart home. It's not a drug. It's nothing you can take. It's just this nerd complex, essentially. I told you guys I was obsessed with computers, and someone told me I was gifted with technology and stuff. And like, I started reviewing iPhone stuff, and I got cases for free and stuff. And I didn't really think anything of it, but you know, I make content, and now I go and speak at conferences because I really like smart homes. And it really just started by curiosity. I think I was just a kid playing, and I wanted a smart doorbell. I didn't know if I should get a Ring or a Nest or a Eufy or a Blink or a Reolink or a Wise or what brand, because there's literally like 25 different brands or more of smart home doorbells. So what's the difference? Why do I want one over the other? Like, this is complex. And even now that I work in the smart home industry, I can tell you it is complex, and you really need a reliable and trusted source. And I wanted to desperately get into the smart home industry. I thought I was going to be the business owner at the smart home industry, but I had never even done a smart home project. So how was I going to be the owner, technician, project manager, do everything, if I've never even done a project? Like, I've kind of done my own home, but like I didn't really like install too much of it. So how was that going to work? So back to the drawing board. So I went to CES, and CES is the local Las Vegas trade show. I got some free like media passes because I own ChrisOram.com. And basically from that, I went to some smart home panels. And at the smart home panel, I met this guy named Mitch Klein. And Mitch Klein changed my life because he told me about this thing called CEDIA. And CEDIA is the custom integration. Basically, it's the association for them. And CEDIA is the smart home mecca. So I went out to Dallas, and I went to this place where I learned about all sorts of smart home shit. And it was dope. It was one of the most incredible moments because I got to see all this stuff that I didn't know anything about. And I think my favorite part about doing that was I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything. I wasn't afraid to ask questions. These people weren't judging me. I was literally just there to learn, and I was going to soak up knowledge from anyone who I surrounded myself with. So I was asking people in front of me, behind me, at the bar, at the coffee shop, just going up and randomly introducing myself to people, because that is the best thing that you can do. And when you're a kid and you have no fear, you're so powerful because you don't think about what if I quit my job and then I don't have a source of income. Like, you figure it out. And that's the good thing about being playful and being curious, is that if you believe in yourself, if you truly believe in yourself, you will figure it out. And I know it's easier said than done. Sometimes you either gotta pretend like you do it, or you gotta have your friend really like push you off the cliff, make you do it. But it's one of those things that if you believe in yourself, you'll always figure it out. Asterisk, you have to be like kind of smart. You can't just be like crazy off the chain. If I would have quit my job because I'm going to be a AV company owner, that would have been a little crazy. Could I have figured it out? I don't know. But be prepared, kids. I think that's the biggest thing I want to tell you is, when you get good at something, you become prepared. So I had done all this preparation. I did 30 hours of coursework. I really wanted to learn more and more and more about the smart home. And I got this great letter of recommendation from my great mentor, Paul Starkey. And this was for my current company that I work at, is Eagle Sentry. And I really came in over-prepared for that, folks. Eagle Sentry is basically the top smart home integrator here in Las Vegas. They do homes up into $32 million. That's the top end homes here in Las Vegas. It's really quite a crazy place. And one of the things that I've learned about Eagle Sentry, even just beyond technology, it's mainly about what I've learned about money. And speaking with people who have a lot of money and can pay for high-end things and luxury goods and luxury homes. And they have homes that are valued at over $3 million. And you find a lot of patterns when you speak to people on a daily basis. I'm taking calls all day long from very wealthy people who are having problems with their smart home. And it's my job to help them with that. But you learn their style, their expectation, their preferences, how they want to be treated, how they want to be talked to. And there is something special about working for a luxury brand like that you really get to understand money and what money is and how money operates and how money flows. And I think that's been the biggest takeaway for me is that 2 years ago, here's a great example. I just bought a $1,000 Sonos Arc Ultra soundbar. And 2 years ago, I would have told you, like, that is a waste of money. Who needs that? Like, that is not a need. And it's not a need. It's a want because, like, I want to love my life and I deserve to have great, nice sounding things. And that's what I wanted to buy. So that's what I did. And I didn't ask anyone for permission, folks. And I think that's a key lesson there. You deserve to have nice things in life. And I think if you put yourself in a position of scarcity where you say or you think that you don't deserve to have nice things, you put yourself in a bad mind space. I don't think you have to be over materialistic, but when I work in the audio video technology space and I want to get the best sounding soundbar for my home, that's super important to me. And people, I think at the company I work at, I learned when someone bought 44 remotes for their 44 televisions in their home that I was literally blown out of my chair because that is absolutely insane to any normal person. But you guys don't understand. Normal is not the way to go. You have to be not normal. You have to do things extreme. So when I say that I wake up at 4:45 a.m. every day, people think that's extreme. And you want to know what that is extreme. And it's extreme that I don't drink, and it's extreme that I do a lot of things. And I think that being extreme is okay because winners are extreme. And winners, you know, I really hate to say it, but they think they're better than other people. They really know their value and that they are fucking winners. So that's what I want to say. And when you come to the table knowing your value and you can focus on one thing and for a long time, I wanted to know like why I was obsessed with smart homes or like if I really was obsessed or if I really loved it, because I don't know what it means to like love home automation and love a smart home. And like a lot of people, the normal everyday person doesn't even care about a smart home. They've probably never even used the word smart home. And that's my life. Like I spend over 50 hours a week, over 80 hours a week thinking about the smart home. And I just obsess over it. And like, I think everyone is going to have a smart home. And I think I'm at a revolutionary time point where the smart home is growing more and more mainstream. And I'm surrounding myself by really, really smart people, and especially like pioneers of the early industry, like Paul and Helen, who are guiding me, who really were there at the kind of the beginning of CEDIA. And I think I'm doing this podcast today because it's going to be a very exciting time soon when the next stage of the career journey of the next stage of what like we're here to do comes. And yeah, so I think following your dreams is important. And I think following the path that you set forth for yourself and really finding the light when things are kind of shitty and still guiding yourself and taking ownership and getting yourself back up, I think is really important. So yeah, this was my first attempt at a solo cast. We might got some time, so we might go over to another solo cast talking about something else, but I really am excited to be back here in the studio. I really am looking forward to having some new guests here, because podcasting is the ultimate way of networking. Why would you invite someone out to coffee? that is a low status activity. You can invite someone right next to you, invite them, hop on the recording, pick their brains, and talk to really high level people. And it's kind of an honor. Like, they can share that with their network. It's really just smart networking. And again, I want to give a big shout out to the Sunrise Podcast Network here. We are recording at the OG location, but we're back at it again, baby. And I'm just so excited to be here. I got a couple podcast guests lined up for the next one, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. And thanks for watching episode number 16 of Elevation with Chris Oram. Thanks for watching.